We have been living through challenging times the past few years, especially with the pandemic and everything else on our plates. We can all use an extra dose of resilience. I'm Dr. Ellen Ettinger. Today, I'm going to be providing you 5 keys to building and elevating your resilience to help you get through the tough times. So let's dive right in. Why do we need resilience? Well, we know that life is full of ups and downs, and we usually think of needing resilience for the difficult times. But even for the good times, the up times in our lives, we can use some resilience sometimes. Like if we need move to a new town or start a new job, and we're meeting a lot of new people and dealing with a lot of new situations. And of course, for the difficult challenges in life, having a serious medical problem for you, or a loved family member, or a close friend, or losing a job, or problems at work, or financial problems, or divorce, or separation, or marital and relationship problems. These are all examples of challenges and all times when we need resilience. So, what is resilience? I'd like to talk about what resilience is so that we can talk about what we can do to build it. And also, because resilience is often misunderstood and explained wrong. So, let's start with a definition first. And people often talk about resilience as bouncing back from a challenge or a difficult time or stressful situation. And I like that explanation, bouncing back from tough times or difficult times. And I think it's helpful to think of it that way because we really want to be able to bounce back from those struggles and obstacles when they occur in our life. I like to think of it like a child jumping up and down on a mattress. And imagine occasionally somebody's thrown up in the air off of the foundation. But each time they come back down to the base again. And again, they may be thrown up off course again, way up in the air, off balance. But each time they come right back down to base, right back down to a strong foundation again. And now think of an adult, and sometimes we're thrown up in the air off course, off balance. And our goal is to get back to a base, to a foundation again, grounded, sturdy, strong on that foundation. So keep in mind, by the way, when I talk about the base level, after we've been through a rough time, sometimes we're talking about getting back to the same base, the same foundation, and sometimes it's a new base that's different from previously. So post-COVID, we're not going back to old life exactly as it was. It's a new baseline, but still a baseline where we can feel sturdy and steadfast and strong, empowered, and in control. That's the type of baseline that we want to feel. So let's talk about what happens when we need resilience. And then we're going to get to the 5 keys. And we'll talk about how to get it. So I'm going to use an example of what happens when we lose a job. There are 2 things that happen in any event that calls on resilience. And I refer to the first part, one as the fact. I lost my job, for example. And then the second part is the emotion, which is usually, oh my God, I got fired, or oh my, I lost my job, or I'm so upset. I worked there for 5 years. I did everything they asked. I did a good job. And then a new manager came in and she's bringing in her new people. I'm so upset. How am I going to get another job? I need a job. I'm so upset and worried. Again, these are examples of the emotional response. And you can see how easy it is to become encumbered and enmeshed in that emotional response. So much so that you can almost lose sight of the fact because you're so caught up in being upset. And it's like an emotional loop. Often we keep playing it back over and over again and ruminating. At night, we have trouble sleeping, thinking about it. And I call this the hot emotions. We're stuck in a loop repeating that hot emotion. And in order to move forward, we really need to bring the heat of that emotion down so that we can focus on the fact. For example, the fact I've lost my job. What am I going to do to get a new job? And sometimes just being aware of this fact that we need to bring the heat down can help you do it. And so I wanted to suggest that as a first step. And very often we do need more than that. And that's why I'm going to go on and give you some additional strategies as well. And so we talked about the definition of resilience. I want to talk also about what resilience is not, because people often misconstrue what resilience is. So resilience is not plodding through the tough times. Don't mistake resilience with plodding and plowing through hard times and focusing on misadventure and how hard it is, how you're struggling and barely making it through. Resilience is recognizing that times can be hard, but that we can be tough also, and we can move forward even when times are hard. So it's finding the confidence and the strength and positivity to move forward. It's not living in the fear and negativity and holding the heat of the emotion. It's being ready to come up with options to intentionally find steps to move forward. A second thing resilience is not an absolute. Either you are resilient, you were born resilient, or you're not. I like to think of resilience as a muscle. And when you know how to use that muscle, when you know how to use resilience, you can flex this muscle when you need it and build it when you need it. And that's an important thing about resilience, being able to build it and elevate it and find it when you need it. So sometimes resilience is being able to call up on your reserves of resilience. Each time you go through a difficult experience or a challenge, you build on your resilience reserves, and they're there for you to call on when you need them, if you do call on them. Again, if you're stuck in the heat of being upset, in the heat of the emotion, and you're so focused on that, then it clouds your pathway and you're not actively calling on your resilience. So it's important to think about the steps for resilience. And third, resilience is not an artificial positive view of things. It's not looking at a terrible situation and forcing yourself to say, this isn't so bad. So I'm a 13-year cancer survivor, and resilience is not looking and saying, oh, cancer isn't so bad, or divorce isn't so bad, or you lost your job, that's not so bad. No, it's understanding that times can be tough and we can be tough and move forward and get through these times. And there are things that are out of control, but we control our responses to everything. So there are 4 important parts of resilience. And one is that it's being realistic. It's not looking through things through rose-colored glasses. It's admitting this is a tough time, but I am going to take steps to make it through. Take steps to make it through. So even though you know something is difficult, it's staying positive, feeling in control, feeling you have courage when you need it, and confidence to move forward. And again, this is another characteristic of resilience, staying positive, strong, with confidence and courage. There's an article that I like a lot in a Harvard business publication, and it's called Resilience is about how you recharge, not how you endure. So again, it's not how you plod through this horrible time. It's self-care and self-compassion and re-energizing so that you have the strength, so that you don't burn out, you don't fall apart, but you stay strong and you can make plans to move forward. And sometimes self-care is the only way you can make it through without falling apart. So it's really important to find that self-care. So, an example I have of my personal life, and I don't always share my personal life, but years ago, my father was in the hospital. He'd had a stroke, and I was devastated to see him so sick. And he had been in the hospital for a month. And I knew that in order for me not to fall apart and to be there to be strong for my mother and our family, I had to take care of myself again so I wouldn't fall apart. And I knew one thing I needed to eat. I had no appetite. So I put lunch on my calendar and I made sure I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I knew that sleep was important and that I couldn't be ruminating and laying in bed at night, sick and worried. I knew I had to find the strength to relax so that I could fall asleep and that I could stay strong. And in fact, did stay as strong as I could to be helpful and strong in that situation. Another example was, and I've spoken about this, I'm a 13-year breast cancer survivor. So when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, that certainly called on resilience. I could have easily fallen apart. It is so stressful to hear those words, you have cancer. And I knew I had to take care of myself. I had a 15-year-old daughter at the time, and I was not going to fall apart. I knew that I needed to stay strong. I knew I had to take physical care of myself and emotional care of myself while navigating through this complicated pathway of learning what to do and planning how I was going to take care of myself during this cancer diagnosis. And I did that actually. And one of the things that I thought was really helpful was that I tried to learn as much as I could about what I had and what my options were so that I could make a good decision. One of the things that was a big help was I was in a cancer support group. And when I had questions, I would go to my advisor, who was a trained health professional, and I could get answers to certain questions, which were really helpful to me, fact-wise and emotional-wise. It helped me get through a tough time. And that's really one of the reasons why I started this channel, to help people through tough times so that you have a place where you can go to get information, to help you with resilience and other skills to help you get through tough times. And of course, you can also contact me directly for one-on-one advice if you'd like that to help you move forward from a difficult situation or a challenge. And you don't have to recreate the wheel on challenges, just like I didn't have to find every solution for breast cancer. There are options out there. I had to learn what they were and then pick the best. So it's learning not to live in fear. And in many respects, it's learning to reach out, to find out what ideas are out there that can help you. Another thing that resilience is not, it's false to think that resilience means you're not vulnerable. So if you're resilient, that doesn't mean that everything will always be okay. We are all vulnerable to ups and downs in life. Being resilient doesn't mean that nothing will ever happen to you. What it does mean is that if things happen, you know that you can be empowered and prepared to take steps to bounce back faster and more effectively and fully than if you didn't have resilience. There are so many things that are out of our control, but resilience is something that we can build. It can be within our control. And I want to help you build that and become and feel more resilient in your life. Another thing you should know is resilience is not automatic. So resilience is not passive. It just doesn't turn on itself. Resilience is decision making. It's intentional actions. It's intentional self-care. And it's knowing that you have a community you can reach out for help. Again, it's decision making. It is not passive or automatic. And it's not immediate, it's not magic. So if you have a problem, there isn't a magic immediate solution. It's an ongoing process of self-learning, self-energizing, and building plans over time. And it's a sense of positivity that you can handle this, even amid the turmoil of difficult situations. Often our default is to fall to our hot emotions and to think, oh no, I can't believe this is happening to me. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And you need to call on your reserves of resilience to know that, in fact, you can get through this. So let's talk about those 5 keys to resilience. And key number 1, we talked about the 2 parts to resilience. Number 1, the fact, and 2, the emotion. So resilience is not staying locked in the emotion, in the heat, staying stuck in the repetitive loop, ruminating. I'm so mad, I'm so upset. I don't know where I'll find a job. It's being positive. I know that I'll get through this. I know that I have options. And however you need to talk to yourself, it's looking at the fact and making a plan so that you know that you can handle it. And second, the second key is resilience calls on self-care techniques to help you through the rough times. You need to be re-energized so you have the strength to move forward. So there's sleeping, eating, exercise, meditation, taking deep breaths, whatever it means to you to be re-energizing and valuing yourself even when you feel lost, so you don't get depleted, so you stay strong. And number 3, resilience is knowing that you have resilience reserves, that this is not the first challenge you've ever been through in your life, and that you can make it through tough times. It's even self-talk to replace the hot emotions, like I'm so upset, I can't get through this, by saying, I know that I will get through this. I know I can deal with this. And maybe even it's not pleasant, I didn't choose this, but I know that I will get through this. And some characteristics of resilience, again, are that you're realistic, you're strong, you're confident, and you have positivity. And a 5th key to resilience is resilience doesn't mean you have to do it all yourself. So there's a phrase, it takes a village, and we often apply it to children, but it applies as well to resilience for people of all ages, not just children. You don't have to be Superman or Superwoman to try to make it through. And if you try to be Superman or Superwoman, that's sometimes the times when we end up in burnout and exhausted and out of energy. So Who do you have around you who can help in your support system? Sometimes a family member or friends or a mentor. Sometimes you know somebody who's been through a similar problem who might advise you. But it is often important to consider whether somebody else's advice applies to you. So, for example, if somebody else has been sick or if they were out of a job, what worked for them may or may not work for you. So you do have to consider, if you're taking advice from friends or families or people who are untrained professionals, whether their advice applies to you. But you should also think about what I call your professional village: a mentor, a doctor, a coach, or a therapist, someone who's trained and can help you find what you need. And since you do come here to watch this, I do hope you consider me part of your professional village, someone who really cares about helping you through the difficult times, through the challenges, and someone who's trained to help people through those challenging times. So you can certainly come to the channel here for the videos and the posts. Of course, you can contact me directly for one-to-one support. My calendar is a busy one, but I do always save some time for new clients because I think that's the right thing and important thing to do. And again, resilient people are resourceful and they're not embarrassed or afraid to reach out for help. And they know you don't have to recreate the wheel for every problem. It's easier and more efficient to find somebody who has solutions laid out and prepared and who knows how to handle things. So again, resilience is an intentional decision. It involves intentional action steps to help you recover and bounce back through life's challenges and through the tough times. I hope that you do find this session helpful today. May all of your challenges be met with a wealth and vast resource of resilience. And may you know that you have a home here and that you are not alone. Please, I hope this was helpful for you. I would love to get this message about resilience out to as many people as we can. So please feel free to share this video with others you know who might benefit. Please click thumbs up if you liked it. And please subscribe so you can benefit when I come out with new videos. And I do come out with a new video each week. So join me back here next week when I will come out with another video on a totally different topic. Until then, be empowered and let's talk again together soon.